up, Joe 200? It's Monday, the 19th of October, and believe it or not, we have less than a month left and classes are over. November 13th. It's mind-boggling, but yeah, this is, I'm glad you guys joined us. I think you see a lot of opportunity, and I've learned a lot from this class. So we are going to get into really the wheelhouse of business majors that have elected to take this class. And there's a lot of information for you to use and absorb that I think will do you well in terms of your careers later on in life. And so I use this class as a resource for sure, and give you perspective. So we'll go ahead and dive right into this week's assignments. And I want to thank you guys for doing such a great job on the second critical thinking assignment, where you were looking at um, the cost of healthcare, and that's going to be, when we, as economists today, that's going to be a reoccurring theme, and the percent of your income that is devoted to healthcare costs, and just a very um, sociologically divisive situation where some people it's not a big deal, but other people it's a very extreme situation where they have to make tough decisions on whether or not to even get health insurance, to even pursue treatments for problems because they're having trouble treating or paying rent and things like that. Okay. So yeah, what am I gonna? So you see right there? Look at that. That's our little Halloween candy thing. So Halloween's coming up. Okay. And and for those of you that are having trouble in your other classes or just trouble in life, you can always make a comeback. Look at the Dodgers, man. Woo-hoo. See how they came back? So can you. All right. All right. So yeah, the only thing that's coming up is just don't forget to calendar the second midterm right here. And then don't forget that you do have your paper. And again, I'll say it every time. When you're doing your paper, you take out your cell phone and you just do an interview with this significant other. Hopefully, it can be a significant other, so it'll have a lot more meaning for you. And it's something that you'll have for posterity, for your grandchildren and your great grandchildren, if you ever get around to there. And that's going to be part of the theme of today's lecture too, is when are you guys going to get around to having children and grandchildren? Okay. All right, so you can see how far we've come, and now, as you can see, we're getting into boom, boom. These are economics. This is going to be kind of just a global overview of the economy a little bit here, and then we're going to get into steps to take for better economic preparation, and then down here we get into the actual nuts and bolts of investment strategies that you can start really doing now, and talk to your parents about, and become an advisor, with them. And yeah, this is a great section of the class for sure. Okay. All right. So let's just go right into looking at kind of the global situation in terms of the economic and social implication of aging societies. All right. So this is the core reading. We'll look at a real neat NPR article here that looks at kind of what's happening in our country. They take a couple examples here in Southern California. They actually look at this guy right here, Bob Orozco, in my hometown, which is Laguna Niguel, and then they also look at people that are not as well off as Bob, that are kind of hand to mouth in Venice. Okay, always remember that you do your reading quiz right here, so you have that open while you're doing these two. And then we have some really kind of compelling discussions right here, discussion videos, which these are vary in when they were produced, but because the economy can be so cyclical, everything that they talk about completely applies to what's going on right now, because we are in a pandemic / cyclical downturn in some aspects of our economy. Not the housing market, sadly for you, but for many aspects. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right here and look at this article. And the cool thing about this for you guys, I think it's cool. We'll make it a little bit bigger here. Boom. All right. Is that so much of this article at the very beginning is you guys are experts in now. It's just a review. So this is a very well respected um, journal article, Science Magazine. For us, scientists like myself, it is the preeminent journal. Okay, but you'll see that you guys are now able to read this thing and go, oh yeah, I got this stuff down. Okay, so the very first part goes through documenting the demographic transformation that the world has undergone, okay, because we have the baby boom generation, okay, so we have these different periods where there was a lot of reproduction, okay, it was my generation, I'm 64, okay, and my two older brothers, and you combine that with improvements in hygiene, improvements in healthcare, and so we basically live a lot longer. So there's this dramatic increase in the lifespan. Okay, and so with this demographic shift, okay, and we had fewer children as well. So the balance is shifted to, as you know from this class, an aging population. And we can see right here, see this illustrated graphically here. And they talk about that, and we learned about certain countries, across the world. Certainly Latin America was a little slower to get to this point in terms of this balance. Okay, um, people didn't live as long, more children in the kind of developing countries, but they're catching up fast. And then you look at Europe, where that ship has sailed, and Japan, where that ship has sailed, and they're grappling with the socio-economic concepts. Okay, all right. So this is right here a way of illustrating this. Okay, these are called age pyramids, and all it does is it's looking at kind of the percent representation. We see it on this side and this side. Um, and it's actually, I'm going to say, this is population in millions. Okay, sorry, not percent representation. So we look at the population in millions, and you can see, the older group here in 2010, so this, 10 years ago, and the extended population in millions, okay? And then we go down here and we see, certainly, yes, population has grown here, but nothing like the population of the older people. So we do have an increase in population of younger people, but it's more at more of a replacement level right here. Okay, so that gives us kind of a model now to predict what the heck's going to happen. And you guys already know, the reason for what's going on here. So what are the drivers for this transition from this situation up here to this situation here, where there's more older people and proportionally less older people? So we're looking at millions down here, all right? And so we already know the drivers, okay? So we have falling fertility or childbearing, okay? You guys all should have at your age, 2, 3, even 4 children, based on the way we are put together as humans. Okay, evolutionary biology, that you are prime reproductive ages, but what you're doing is you're, getting your stuff together, getting your act together, going to school, trying to get yourself up to a point that you're going to get a really good job. And this is exactly what Julie and I went through. And I met her when she had just turned 20 and I was 27. But we waited. I was 31 when we got married. Okay. She was 24 and a half. And then we waited another 8.5 years to have kids. Okay. So I was 39 when I had my first child. Why? Because we came from really simple means and we wanted to get ourselves ahead. There's no right way of doing this. It was just the way that we chose. And it was based on kind of, a personal economic stand that we took. Okay, means that now in our older years, I have a 19-year-old and a 25-year-old. Okay, awesome. So we have low fertility. Okay, and that is the general trend in developed countries. Okay, um, and because of advancements in science, okay, that lead to advancements in terms of clinical delivery of medicine. We have falling mortality. What else? I this last week probably went surfing 4 days, and it's from the pandemic. Surfing 2, 3 hours at a shot, hardcore exercising, and I don't remember my dad doing that at my age. I'm 64, and so there's a, there's a more of a public health awareness of exercise and diet and living right and reducing stress if you can. Obviously, it's a privilege, it's a socioeconomic privilege, but it's going to um, um, allow me to live a lot longer than if I had lived kind of the way that my dad did, right? And he smoked and he didn't exercise and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Right, so those are the big drivers, right? And then we look at implications, okay, of this change in the balance of who's alive, populations. We go back to the original graph, right here, and the domination that's happening here, and so it has big effects, okay, on labor markets as we have expansion in business, expansion in our gross domestic product, okay. Um, we do not have as many young people to fill those jobs. Okay. And and so oftentimes, older people have retired and they're not looking to fill it either. So it's kind of a dilemma. Okay. So it affects labor markets. This is going to affect pattern of saving versus consumption. Okay. What does that mean? I realize now I'm going to live pretty long. I'm going to be in my 90s. Is my projection. Okay, so I'm going to reduce my consumption somewhat. Okay, and I'm going to invest more money so that I will not be broke when I'm 85 because nobody wants to do that. So this is the thinking. All right, so I'm not traveling around the world. Okay, I'm not going out to eat every night. All these kind of things that are just consumption. Okay, and so this changes things economically. Okay. Um, we're going to talk about health and welfare services. Again, we did this with the critical thinking assignment too. What percentage of your income is being consumed by the cost of healthcare. Whether it's the monthly bill, okay, for the actual insurance policy or the out-of-pocket expenses, okay, that are in addition to that. All right, so these are all big things. Um, so we need to have better policy and political decisions that's going to kind of deal with this, right? And so this is going round and round and round and round and round, right? In Washington D.C., we look at the two things: our social welfare system of Social Security and Medicare costs. And Medicare costs, they go up so much faster than our average gross domestic product, which is, the goods that we're selling that makes our nation wealthy. That it's creating this imbalance because so much of the money is also going towards paying for Medicare. Okay, and so there's going to be a movement that we're going to push you that you need to do better with savings. Okay, so we're going to teach you about this, how to invest your money. Okay, and alrighty, so we'll kind of scroll through this. I can read all this for you, but we know that we have this issue of decreased fertility. Okay, and what's going to happen if you have fewer young people, you're going to start having deficits in certain labor markets. One answer is immigration. Not not very topical during the current era of politics. Okay, it may change. Politics, the pendulum swings very wide. Okay. Um, Again, it goes over the labor market concerns. So we have growing businesses, and oftentimes we don't have good people to fill those businesses. Now older people, we're going to talk about it. Oftentimes, they need to work and are willing to work, but they maybe do not have the modern skill sets necessary for that labor market. So it's a real kind of dilemma. All right. All righty. This right here is very uh, poignant. Okay, all right. So when we look at the decline in the population, proportion of younger people in the population, okay, this is perceived as a reduction in economic activity. Again, younger people spend more. Okay, whereas an increase in proportion of older people is perceived as an economic burden. Okay, not only do we not spend as much, but because of things like Social Security and healthcare, we become a drain, a burden. okay? And it's only going to grow. It's only going to grow, and it's something that you have to deal with politically, okay? So it goes through, the some of the assumptions and talks about, again, the economics that has in individual countries. So here we're looking right here again, looking at worldwide projections. You see this, decline in younger people, this increase in older people in terms of millions of people. That is crazy right there. That this transition. Look at how rapidly that transition happened right here. Okay, how do we address this deficit? Okay, um, promote childbearing. Okay, we need more fornication, guys. We need you guys to reproduce. Okay, yeah, I know you guys as college students have been practicing a lot. What you got to do now is you got to seal the deal and start having kids. All right. So that's part one. All right. Um, and there are actually social policies out there, social economic policies encouraging people to have kids. Okay, better leave for not only women but also for men. So all these kind of things when you have a child. So child leave, is has improved. Okay. Um, what else we can do? If I were to quit today, I would be contributing to the dependency. I'd be looking to you guys. Okay, I quit. I want my Social Security, you know? And so then we need more of you guys to put money into the government through your Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes and other types of taxes. Okay, even your income tax goes a lot to the services that I need. Um, I'm a dependent. Okay, so there's lots and lots of policy that's out there that we got to get people like me to work longer and longer and longer. All right, so that we're not a dependent, so we're not a drain. Okay, and it goes through, right here, what it is you need to do. I need to not be of ill health. I need to rehab my injuries from being a sporto and stuff like that. Okay, all righty. So this gets into these challenges. Okay, so if I want Dr. Walsh to be more productive, okay, I need Dr. Walsh to postpone frailty and disability. Okay, now I had a total knee replacement 2 years ago. In normal human evolution, I would have been a done deal. I would have been food for the mountain lions here in Laguna Niguel. But because of modern technology and because of um, me having really good health insurance, I was able to get a total knee replacement. It worked like a champ. Here I am. I'm back surfing. I'm a shortboarder. I'm back surfing trestles all the time. All right. So why? Because I was driven through physical therapy to make a comeback. I want to live my life. That's just kind of an example. So we need to reduce frailty and disability so that I will have a decline, but rather than have a really gradual decline, you want Dr. Walsh to cruise, and then just go boom. Okay, because economically that's better off. And this is all right here, looking at not only life expectancy but healthy life expectancy. And we do see that it is socioeconomic. Okay, out here, Dr. Walsh, my income, I have a much better likelihood of having a healthy life expectancy versus somebody that's a lower income. Okay, all righty. So that's basically it. Okay, so you look through this. Okay, so we're trying to look to delay my life transition. I don't need to retire. Maybe I'll work till I'm mid 70s. It's not unheard of. Okay, all right. So that's what that's all about. Okay, this again talks about family structure. Um, Maybe we got to get rid of this light and life childbearing like I did. um, Maybe we can have a little bit more kind of caregiving going on through the family collective. All right, so then we go down here. This is a cool article, and you guys have time. Just kind of don't sweat it on this, but just this is the second part, and this talks about this guy, and it shows a couple of different people. Okay, Bob, he's doing fine, but much like myself, and I've talked to my brothers who are older than me, and I've talked to my friends who are older than me. What am I going to do? Might as well work. First of all, it keeps me becoming a financial burden. Okay, and I'm going to stay alive anyways because the medical system is going to keep me going. So might as well stay vital. Okay, and that's what this is all about right here. It talks about Bob. Okay, there's also the increased reliance on things like 401ks. Okay, but that's a select few that have this kind of type of retirement. We're going to see that the average amount of retirement income savings, like a individual retirement account, a 401k, for 55 to 60-year-olds. Okay, this is coming up in our future one of our future chapters. Is $16,000. $16,000. Okay, they talk later on down here that if we look at baby boomers, that if you take all of our assets, all right, so that's your IRA, your 401k, your housing, etc. So the median of a baby boomer is somewhere around 150,000. Now that's the median. There's people that have more, and there's people that have a lot less. People who have a lot less are going to be that burden that we have to deal with. And sometimes there are just unfortunate stories. So Bob is driven. It's great, and he talks all about that. Okay, he says right here, God gave you a life. What are you going to do with that life? He's doing as much as he can. And he talks about what else would I be doing. Then we have people that are struggling, that all they have is Social Security. Okay, they cannot work anymore. All right, they don't have the skill set. Maybe they have some disability. They're just too old for whatever reason they can't work. They're relying solely on Social Security, and it's tragic. This woman again. We've talked about the demographics, how being married makes it a lot easier on you financially, and it means you can live a longer, healthier life. So she raised 2 children she's a divorced mother. Okay. And she relies not only on Social Security, but she has to do food stamps. Okay, not the life that this wonderful woman thought that she was going to be living. And such a high percentage of her income goes towards just sustaining life, like rent, groceries, etc. She says that 79% of Social Security is spent on rent. Rent. She's left with $245 a month for everything else. It's mind-boggling. Okay, and so this article just again goes through a couple of very pointed examples. This person, she was lucky. She worked for the government. So she was in the public in public school system, so she has a pension. So she can then go out there and she does great things. She can extend her life and help those people that are suffering that are a burden, right? So she goes out there and she helps older adults. Really cool stories. Okay, awesome. All right, so those are the 2 stories. These 3 videos are pretty cool. This one right here talks about the stress of being jobless and how it accelerates your biological aging. It actually goes in there and tweaks your DNA. Okay, it makes it much more vulnerable to mutations and all these problems. It's called the telomere, and they get all messed up. Okay, all right. This one right here shows you, and again, this is the cycle of unemployment that we're in right now. When people are unemployed, when we look at the age groups that are employed, the older you are, the more you suffer. Okay, they're looking at the group of people that are chronically unemployed and how they just can't get back on the horse, and it's completely age dependent. Okay, and when you go to these job fairs, how many old people are showing up for these job fairs? All right, and then this one right here talks about some of the dynamics, the socioeconomic dynamics. I did mention a lack of skills in education for like tech jobs. Sorry, that's my camera going off out front. Somebody's going to go rob me. But that's only a small part of it. Okay. Some people are not willing to move, so there's geographic limitations. Some people, especially like right now, they're looking at why would I work when my government benefits that I'm getting right now are, our welfare system of unemployment pays me far more money to not work versus working. And then this is this dilemma, okay? And we're going to go cycle back. When we look, actually, I would do want to mention, we look at the primary article right here, every administration always, points the finger at the prior administration and said, "Look what you did. You increased our country's deficit, and now we have to pay that much more interest to all these other countries that basically have loaned us the money." And so that was the rallying cry, against Bush and then Obama. Of course, the Obama administration had to do the Affordable Care Act, had to do the Recovery Act, all these different things to bring people out because we were coming off, you know, the greatest recession since the Great Depression, and and then what happened was the Trump administration came up with his tax plan, and it was an unfortunate timing of a tax plan because the pandemic came next. The tax plan sent money to the wealthiest Americans, and it reduced the revenue the government had. Okay, so and then all of a sudden we had to spend more. We're spending as a government ungodly amounts of money on things like unemployment right now, but we don't have the money coming in. So the deficit is at an all-time right now. That's going to be an issue for you as well. Alrighty, guys. So that's it for now, and have fun with the discussion. Don't forget to um, get ready for your paper. And it's been a pleasure, guys. And we'll see you next time. Peace.